This is my wedding cake from 3 years ago that cost me $1,000. And today I'm attempting to recreate it for way less money. I don't know how necessary this is, but I'm starting with some simple syrup on these cakes. So I really have no experience other than being a super average home baker that just likes to watch the Food Network and honestly just eat cake. So I don't really know what I'm doing. And the internet showed me different ways to frost a cake. This is the one that I'm going with. My wedding was in the fall time, so I had a caramel apple filling to be cute and fall-y. I'm honestly not sure if I made enough filling for this whole entire cake, but you know what? It's fine. I do make a small version of my cake every year for me and my husband's anniversary, but this year we're going all out and I'm just making the whole thing because I thought it would be fun. I don't put frosting on top of that, do I? Right?
I don't know.
It's sticking. I don't know what I'm doing. Oh my gosh. Oh, beautiful. It did kind of stick, but that's okay. So now I'll just put this on top. This is encouraging. So I love baking, so I always thought it would be cool to like make my own wedding cake, but also like super stressful. So there was no way I could commit to like actually doing that. So I have seen some people who do actually make their own wedding cake, and like the fact that they did that on their wedding week, like I was stressed and I didn't make my own cake. We ran through that first bag of icing really quick. I literally made like 9 batches. During this process, I gained a whole new appreciation for cake bakers. Because at times I was all over the place. But the goal at the end of this video is to see if a very average baker like me, I've never done a cake bigger than 1 tier, so 4 tiers sounded fun, can create something good enough for an actual wedding at a fraction of the price. Crumb coat time. Getting a lot of crumbs on this coat. Baking literally brings me so much joy. Even if I'm not doing it correctly, it's a lot of fun. And that's all that matters. We've got our first crumb coat done, and now it just needs to go in the freezer to set. Oh, this is heavy. This is gonna be a really heavy cake. It's just gonna be 3 tiers on top of this. I think my cakes are super moist because I read on the internet that when you freeze a cake, take it out of the oven, let it cool in the pan for 10 minutes, wrap it with saran wrap and aluminum foil, and then put it in the freezer so it traps in all the steam. I'm getting the hang of this whole stacking thing. It's kind of fun. So I've seen the icing artist turn a grocery store cake into a wedding cake, and I kind of thought that I could do the opposite of turning my expensive cake into something for cheap. Won't probably be $20. That would be very impressive. So now I'll add this layer on top, and then it's crumb coat time. One thing that I really need to figure out is how to make my buttercream better because it has holes all in it. But it might be the butter that I use because I have to use vegan butter. So I don't think this cake is super straight, and I don't know how to fix it. Like I can't just like scoot them over. I don't know if that's helping. I think it's just hurting. Oh, this is hard.
Oh, you fixed it, kind of. It moved.
Wait, I think I did. This is a learning experience. Okay, this one is not as heavy as the bottom one, but it's going in the freezer. We're gonna have to get creative with our fridge and freezer space. On to tier number 3 of the crumb cake. So the theme of my wedding was like a fairy tale because I love Cinderella and I used to perform in Disney. So we had lots of pumpkins and vines and flowers, and my wedding decorator even bought me glass slippers, which was the cutest thing ever. I love weddings in general. I'm gonna get like a hand cramp from this, oh my gosh. As you can tell, I like a lot of buttercream in the middle, and honestly, this bottom layer, like I might pipe some more on in there. With each tier, I feel like we've gotten a little bit faster and a little bit better with this process. Practice makes perfect. Except for I've never understood that saying because nobody is perfect. I just thought about that. Now for our 6-inch cake tier, they froze kind of wonky, so I definitely think I'm gonna need to level these ones. I bought this handy dandy cake leveler just in case we needed to use it, and I'm pretty excited to use it, but I hope these aren't too frozen that this doesn't work, because otherwise we're in trouble. How do I do this? This is kind of working. Almost there. Look at that! And now we get to eat this one, Tanner. That's so good. By the way, these cakes are vegan and gluten-free, so that's why they look like this. I have allergies, so. So my sister is hopefully getting married soon. So maybe I could make my sister like a cake for her wedding shower, or maybe even her wedding cake, honestly, if this turns out. I'm not sure if she would trust me with that though. I would definitely have to get in way more practice before her wedding though. Time for this one to go in the freezer, and now we can start frosting all the cakes. Here we go. So I'm gonna start by just piping this on first. I don't know why I was holding my breath. So the bottom tier of my wedding cake was more like rustic and like rigid looking. And then the next one was smooth and then rigid and then smooth. This one will be rigid. I think that's easier. Okay, so we got the buttercream on the cake. Now I'm using my bench scraper to make it all smooth. Ooh, so satisfying. Oh my gosh. That is looking so smooth already. Wow. Also, I just got this really hot with hot water, which is supposed to make it super smooth as well. I'm not really sure how to fix these like edges. So I've seen some people like try to like cut them off almost like this. Oh, maybe not. This layer might be like okay because we're making like those ridges, you know? The smooth edges will be the next tier's problem. One step at a time. I'm going to attempt these ridges, so I'm just gonna try something. I don't know. I don't think this is right.
I think it looks good.
I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm having a good time.
I like it.
Supportive husband right there. Here's a little cake baking life hack tip. If your cake looks messy, just say it's rustic. But if you look at my wedding cake, this is pretty much what it looked like.
You're making me nervous.
I'm making myself nervous. Will you open the fridge for me? On to the next. So I like the technique that I used last time where I just like piped the top, smoothed out, and then piped the sides and smoothed that out. There's a hole in my piping bag. Look, it looks like a pimple. The sides and the top is actually looking pretty smooth, but we really just need to worry about these edges. I just watched a YouTube video on how to try to fix it. So you take your little offset spatula and you try to like scrape this off. Kind of worked. So then she did another pass like around the cake. Okay, so then I try to flatten the edges inwards. Like that. Oh wait, that kind of, look at that side. I think this is about as good as it's gonna get, and honestly, it's the smoothest cake I've ever made. And on to the next one, our 8-inch tier.
It's hard to just watch you make the cake and not eat it.
Oh yeah, I know. I also wanna eat it. One thing I've learned from this whole process is that working with a chilled cake is so much easier. Okay, now we can make the ridges on this cake. All right, I think this one's ready to go into the fridge. Got it. So moving on to our smallest tier, the top one, it also has to be super smooth like one of the middle ones. So we're gonna pipe the top and the sides and smooth it all out with my new techniques that I learned. And I have a fingerprint in the bottom. Oh my gosh. It has been a 4-day process. I thought making a 20-pound cookie was gonna be ridiculous, but this is like way more intense. First, we need to figure out this whole dowel situation, which I've clearly never done before, so I watched a lot of YouTube. This goes in the center of the cake. We have to measure it so that it goes to almost the top tier. We already measured the cakes. Comes out to like, what was it, like 19.5 inches? We're gonna cut this to about 15.5 inches. I literally bought a saw. Joanne's coming in clutch. I've been there 3 days in a row now.
Because I keep forgetting stuff and keep needing stuff. Here we are, 3rd time's a charm.
Okay, there we go. Yay! Okay, now we're supposed to sharpen this thing. Look at that! So before we put this main central dowel in, we need to put in these straw dowels. All right, so now we just cut this, and it's important to get it even so it's not at an angle so our cake doesn't like get lopsided. So I'm kind of scared. All right, now we push them all the way in. Okay, so these two were too tall, so I pulled them up a little bit so that we can cut some more off. But let's try to put this central dowel in the middle. I'm gonna make a mark first. Looks like the center to me. Let's stick this in. We're in. This one just came out of the freezer because it's smooth and it'll be easier to handle like extra cold. All right, time for the plastic dowels. In you go. I don't know why this is so satisfying. So there's a little hole at the bottom of this cake board, but I'm still very scared because the hole is kind of small. Okay, here we go. Okay, I'm gonna have to push this down. Oh wait, here we go. It's going. Okay, do you just drop it? What do you do? Do you just like drop it on the other cake? Okay. It's starting to look like a wedding cake. Now for the dowels in the 3rd tier. Okay, honestly, it's still just as scary. Here's the 3rd one. I'm so excited, it's looking so good. Okay, so I need to do some surgery on this little bitty cake. It has my finger indents last tier.
Oh, it's gotta.
I know.
Oh, oh.
I thought that since it was in the freezer, it wouldn't really get my handprints on it, but it kind of did, so I gotta smooth that out a little bit. It's not very even. From certain angles, it looks better or worse. It'll just take more practice, I guess, to get better. So as you can see, there's lots of gaps between the tiers, so we're gonna just pipe frosting in between them, and hopefully that might help it look a little bit better. Things were going so well, and then I like dug my finger right into the cake. I don't even know how that happened, but gotta smooth it out again. So I went to Trader Joe's to buy my fresh flowers because I had fresh flowers on my wedding cake, and I had lots of roses and eucalyptus and greenery on it. I also had these cute little spray roses on my cake, but Trader Joe's didn't have those, so I tried to find some fake ones, but they don't look that great. We just have to work with what we got, and we'll see what we come up with. Before I show you the final product and price, I just wanted to show you the first cake I ever made. Like, what is that? But honestly, it tasted really good. Even though I still don't know what I'm doing most of the time, I'd say we've come a long way. Happy anniversary, babe.
Oh,